Okay, so Ichimo, greetings. Yedase, we thank you for joining in with us once again. For those who are unaware, I am Ojirafo Kwesi Radnehambata Akan, Ojirafo of Akwamu Mine, Amaruka TV Mudi, Akwamu Nation in North America within Ojiraman, the purified nation, Afurakani, Afuraitkaitnut people, African Black people in the Western Hemisphere. So we're doing this short live today. Let me expand this document. In fact, let me switch this document over. So we're in the midst of one of our courses, our certification course called SUSUW, which is a meditation instructor certification course. We started that course, the first one last week. It's going to go into next month, but we have a new one which begins next week on July 1st. So first, let's pull this or show you this document real quick. And so you see that we're talking about the course, but also how to receive a referral fee for recommending or referring people to the course and so forth. Now, in fact, let me switch over to that real quick. Okay. All right, so we have our course. The new one is starting for people who weren't able to get into the first course. It's a 4-week course, and once people complete the course successfully, receive a certification, then they can go into different organizations, whether it's schools, human services organizations, places of employment, utilize that certification to teach meditation, conduct meditation sessions. There are many schools, whether they're elementary schools, high schools, colleges, also places of employment who utilize meditation or have someone come in for a specific seminar once over the course of a month or maybe once every few weeks and so forth to enhance productivity, to enhance learning outcomes and so forth, also to reduce stress, reduce anxiety, a number of different things, assist with weight loss, a number of different things that have been scientifically proven through the practice of various expressions of meditation. So a number of people, get certifications from other organizations that they're not really aligned with culturally and receive a lot of misinformation, but they go ahead and go through that process just to get the certification so they can use that as a credential to, engage in entrepreneurial work, impact our community positively, but also, generate income at the same time. So people asked us for a number of different years, when are we do we certify or are we going to begin to certify? People are aware that we've been doing SUSUW meditation for 30 years. We've been teaching on that for the past 20 years. We've published on different aspects of that. Let me just show you real quick, just some insight into one of our pages on the website. Okay, let me give you the Nhoma page on our website. Okay, so this is the publications page on my website. And what you will see here is to date, I published 31 books to date. All of the ebook versions of the 31 books I've published are all free downloads from the website. So when you scroll through the Nhoma page on our website, you'll see all of the books here. One of them is the Nkwamua whole life journal. And we utilize this book as part of the SUSUW, the meditation instructor course, and it can be used within your sessions when you're teaching meditation to youth as well as adults, a number of different things of that text. But when you scroll through the different texts, you'll see that we have a number of different books on different subjects, including the text, which is also we go into detail about in the course to give you a firm grounding in the tradition. This particular book is Ankh, The Origin of the Term Yoga, Karakasa, The Origin and Nature of the Chakra. And we show in that particular text that the term yoga is not a Sanskrit term. The term chakra, coming from kakra or karakara, is not a term from Sanskrit or Proto-Indo-European. These terms come from ancient Kemet and Kanit, Egypt and Nubia, predating India by thousands of years, predating the existence of Europeans, Eurasians, Hindus, Arabs, and so forth by thousands of years before they existed on Earth. We were already utilizing these terms, and they were already firmly grounded in the cosmology and language and ritual practice of ancient Kemet thousands of years ago. So we take this false notion of meditation or yoga or these different things coming from India, show that it's founded in our culture, language, and practice, and it's different from what you receive, when you see people teaching and so forth, focused on traveling back and forth to India or China, or dealing with Buddhism or Taoism or different expressions you see all over the East. These things began in Afuraitkaitnut, Africa, still exist in varied expressions all across the continent, the various ritual practices, ritual movements, and so forth, as well as practices, contemplative practices like SUSUW, which is the ancient term for meditation. So that's just one of the many books that we have published. And part of that process in the Patasa Satim book, that's one of the first places where we published on the practice of SUSUW, of meditation, and so forth. So some had asked us, over the years, were we ever going to begin a certification process so they could receive their credential from us as opposed to having to go outside the community to do so. So this is why we started that process. Now, so as we said, we have the new course is beginning July 1st. It's on a Monday nights, 8 p.m. Hold on one second. And this is the information. So when you look at the flyer in this section here, let's just so Nkwamua, we just saw this is the cover of the journal we just opened up for a second. It's the Nkwamua Whole Life Journal, and we have a Nkwamua or a whole life approach to teaching meditation. And also, when you're the instructor, you're using the Nkwamua whole life approach to disseminate this information and conduct your sessions in a holistic way. But it's also an introductory way for people who are unaware or unfamiliar with these practices. But this is the approach that we utilize, that we developed years ago, and this is what we utilize. We say SUSUW is the ancient Akan term for meditation, and we also show its origins as Su or SUSUW in ancient Kemet. SUSUW originated in our ancestral culture of Afuraitkaitnut, Africa, tens of thousands of years ago. This ancient practice has been utilized to regulate physical, emotional, and mental balance for millennia in varied expressions wherever our people have migrated in the world. The scientific benefits of meditation for youth and adults have been well documented, enhancing learning outcomes, regulating behavior, overcoming anxiety and depression, rebalancing hormones, lowering blood pressure, reducing stress, regulating weight loss, overcoming addictions, developing discipline, maintaining focus, to overcome obstacles to short and long-term goals. And then we say our meditation instructor certification is for individuals, independent contractors, educators, homeschoolers, human services professionals, behavioral health professionals, and others. As a certified instructor, you are qualified to contract with independent schools, charter schools, cultural organizations, corporate entities, women's and family shelters, community centers, colleges, and more to conduct meditation sessions on a daily, weekly, or periodic basis. Our instruction, as we said, is rooted in our Nkwamua whole life approach, wellness approach. And you even see here, let me just flip over to the actual flyer. The images on the flyer. Hold on a second. In fact, when you look at our trailer, you'll see that the image from the very beginning. SUSUW culture. This image is Amenhotep, the son of Hapu. And you see him in the meditative posture and so forth, which of course, we've been dealing with that for thousands of years. That goes back 3,300 years ago, close to 3,400 years ago. You also see one of the Baule sculptures from the Akan ethnic group in Ivory Coast in West Afuraitkaitnut, West Africa. Akan people are in Ghana, primarily the majority ethnic group in Ghana, as well as Ivory Coast. Millions of Akan people, over 26 million, one of the largest ethnic groups. And many of us who were taken from that ethnic group and forced into the Western Hemisphere during the enslavement era, many of us are dependent from or descendant from and are ancestrally Akan. So one of the reasons we use the Akan term SUSUW, which comes from ancient Kemet as well. But you see this statuary, this sacred ritual statuary of the woman seated in a meditative posture on her gua, on her seat, on her throne, and so forth. Just showing that basic information. So let me switch back to the flyer right quick. Hold on 1 second. All right. Okay, so that's the background. So what we're doing and what we decided to put forward this week as people are preparing to start the course, and of course you can sign up for the course starting Monday, and it's Monday, July 1st through July 22nd, 4-week course, 8 p.m. Eastern. We'll be doing the Zoom platform and so forth, but we also created an offer for those who refer people to register for the course. And that is the flyer you saw as the screenshot. And let's just switch back over to that. All right. And how this works is, so the course itself is $399, basically $99 per week. The books that we are using in the course, you don't have to purchase, of course, because they are free downloads. So the Patasa Satim book that we just showed, the origin of the term yoga, Karakasa, the origin and nature of the chakra, the Nkwamua whole life journal, as well as the U Ben Sheng, the Ancestral Summons book. A portion of that will be going through that as well, and a couple of other things and some articles that we have published as well. So some of the 31 books that I've published are part of the course, but those are free downloads. So since the course is $3.99, it's basically $99 per week. There's a split payment option. You can make a deposit of $199 so you can register and secure your space, and then you can make the following payment next week or the week after for the balance. So, but the referral fee portion, it's a way for us to reach more people that we don't have direct access to, for people who are supporters of our work, subscribers to our channel, who are part of our Patreon group or one of our groups on Facebook. We're giving this offer. So if you refer someone to the course, maybe there's someone that you know who wants to engage in some entrepreneurial activity, they can get certified. They have that credential, and they can take that credential and go to different centers or organizations, and they can set up sessions. Very often people will pay $100, $200, $300 for someone to do a meditation session with youth or adults, even if it's in a mental health facility, and people have groups where they have group therapy, or it could be drug prevention. Some people have circles where they're engaged in therapy with regard to addictions and so forth. Some women at women's shelters, they're trying to get employment, they're trying to receive social services, housing, a number of different things, but they have groups where they talk, and they go through the different processes to get themselves back on track, reducing anxiety, reducing stress, maintaining focus as they're going through this process to get their lives back on track and so forth. A number of different settings. So people tend to pay $100 or $200 or $300 for a session. Sometimes they may ask you to come once a week. Sometimes they may ask you to just come once every few weeks or once a month or something. You may set up something for one particular school or shelter or business. Some business may be having a seminar. They may have a monthly seminar where they bring different speakers in. They have money set aside for that. Some places don't ask for a credential. It's simply, word of mouth. Some places do ask for a credential. They have money set aside. They don't mind writing a check or, making a deposit and so forth, but their funding sources, require that they see some credential before they bring someone in to conduct a session. And once they see you have a credential, you see you have a certification, then that's all they need to see. They'll make a copy of that, and then, you can get paid for that. So, so putting out this offer for a referral fee, you can, if you refer someone and they register, once they pay their registration fee, the $399 registration fee, then we will send you $100 for referring them to us. So on one hand, you're able to reach people, of course, that we don't know. On the other hand, we're able to expand the reach of the course. We need our people in different schools, different places of employment, different agencies, different community centers, different organizations all over the country, because we need our people to transform themselves, purify themselves, maintain and develop discipline and reduce stress and weight loss and all these different benefits of SUSUW, of meditation. Our people need that. So the more people we can get out into the community in different cities and so forth, the better. So the people who have followed some of our work, appreciate the work we're doing, know the value of that. We want to make this offer for those of you who have, been introduced to that, so you can generate income as well, but you're also impacting the community as well. If you refer one person, it's $100. If you refer two people and they register, you receive $200. If you refer 10 people, if there was some organization that you knew about or some study group and all 10 people join, then you would receive $1,000. Whoever registers, you can receive that referral fee as just a way to say thank you for assisting us in reaching more of our people. So let me show for those who are unaware. And of course, in that process, hold on a second. I'm going to pull up one of the informational documents that we've touched on in the introductory to the course. In that process, if you would like to register for the course, but you also are aware of some people who may be interested who would like to register as well, that will assist. If you've got 4 people to register, that those 4 people, that's $400 for you. That actually covers your course. Or if you got 2 people who registered with you, then that's $200. That covers half of your course up front. Okay. So this is one of the documents that we start off just in an introductory fashion to make people aware of, where we're coming from with regard to our cultural grounded approach to SUSUW and what it's really about. First, we deal with definitions. So let's expand this a little bit. All right. So the reason why we call and utilize the term SUSUW, which is the term for meditation in the Akan language, if you look on the right side, this is from the Akan dictionary. The Akan people, once again, from Ghana and Ivory Coast, but the language comes directly from ancient Kanit and Kemet, Nubian Egypt, as we prove. So from the Akan dictionary, you'll see SUSUW means to measure, to sound, to search or measure the depth of, to calculate the capacity of, to estimate, to imagine, presume, to think on, reflect upon, to consider, to meditate, and so forth. So it means to measure. It means to reflect upon. When you reflect upon the self, when you measure the self, when you calculate the depths of the self, when you measure the depth of the self or calculate the capacity of the self, you're looking inward to see what your thoughts, intentions, and actions, what are they, how are they affecting? Are they in harmony with the natural order? Then your life goes well. But if they are out of harmony with order and you measure your thoughts, intentions, and later actions against the standard of natural order, if they're out of alignment with that, then you purify yourself and realign yourself with order so you can make better decisions. You're reflecting upon the self. That's SUSUW, and the root of the term is Su. Okay, there's a question in the chat room. Is PayPal the only way to pay? No, you can actually pay via, let me flip to that page real quick. I'll show you the actual link, the page, the SUSUW page on our website. And I'll put that in the chat room also. So this is the SUSUW page on the website. So you saw the trailer. And see, when you're referring people, you can simply send them to the page. They can click on the trailer, the 2-minute trailer. They can see what it's about. We did an informational video about a couple of weeks ago. And we talked about what's coming up in the course. They'll see the flyer. They'll see the deposit option and so forth. And then you'll see here PayPal, Cash App, Zelle, Venmo. There are different options there. And we also did a number of different sessions dealing with different aspects of SUSUW, different aspects of meditation over the past few weeks that touch on some of the things that we will be introducing in the course. Okay. And this is the direct link to the page in the chat room. Also in the description box for the video. Okay. So now when you see the term SUSUW, that's what it means to measure the depth of the self, to calculate the capacity of the self, to reflect upon the self. And then you see in the language of ancient Japan, in the Medutu, in the hieroglyphs, and we've taught a 2-part course on reading and writing the Medut Ntoro. That is the ancient term for the hieroglyphs. Hieroglyphs is a Greek term, but Medut Ntoro, the Medut are the words or symbols, and Ntoro means divinity, so the sacred or divine Ntoro, Medut, so the Medut Ntoro. Sometimes people say Medu Nature, but it's Medut Ntoro. That is the term for the writing, the sacred writing of ancient Kemet and so forth. So when you look in the language of ancient Kemet, you'll see that Su, a measure of length. The root Su means a measure. It's reduplicated in Akan as SUSUW, but even when you look at the term Su in Akan, it also, that root is the same term. Now, just to show that we're utilizing a term that's thousands of years old, and it's very specific, is dealing with to measure the self, to reflect upon the self. We meditate every day, throughout the course of the day, from the time we're infants and, to the time we become elders and eldresses. Reflecting upon the self is measuring the self. That is meditation. If you see a leopard stalking prey and they become very, quiet, and they're focused and, disciplined and waiting to see the way the gazelle moves before they leap on the gazelle and so forth, that is a form of reflection, contemplation, measuring the capacity of, measuring the depth of, calculating the capacity of, reflecting upon something. That's meditation. They're measuring their movements and so forth. If you see a child focused on, playing with some blocks and building something, they're reflecting upon, contemplating on, focusing on something. They're blocking everything else out. If you're watching, this live, you're focused on this, and somebody says something and you didn't hear them because you're focused on what you're listening to, you're meditating on or contemplating or reflecting upon, focused upon something. Meditation is a form of measurement, reflection, and so forth. That's all it is. The most dramatic expression of meditation from the time you're born is when you go to sleep at night. You're totally internalized, totally contemplating internally. Everything else is blocked out, and your consciousness is withdrawn internally for a number of hours until you come out of that space, and then you focus and interact with people externally. If you're watching television and you're focused and someone says your name and you don't hear what they're saying because you're focused or reflecting upon what you're looking at, that's a form of meditation. So if we do that on a regular basis anyway, we might as well utilize it to its most optimum benefit. And this is what our culture has always done. Now, to go a little bit further, we give the etymological origin of the term meditate. Because people, if you use the term, we use the term SUSUW throughout the course, and we introduce it to people and we give them the proper definition. If you use the term meditate, whatever they've ever heard about meditation, positive or negative, misinformed or accurate, is going to flood their sphere of awareness. If you give them the term SUSUW, and it means to measure specifically, and in the context of meditation, it means to contemplate upon, to meditate, to measure the depth of or calculate the capacity of, then that's the only definition that they have, which is good. But all the misinformation they heard about meditate, we want to dispel that. So you look at the term meditate itself. To ponder, think abstractly, engage in mental contemplation, to reflect, to consider, form the Proto-Indo-European root med. And what does med mean? To take appropriate measures. So once again, the term meditate is from the root med, which means to take appropriate measure. But the term med is not really a Proto-Indo-European root. They stole the term from our ancestral language, and then they claim it as part of the Proto-Indo-European language. But our use of the term med is coming from the term meh from ancient Kemet that predates Europeans by thousands of years. Before they existed on Earth, we were already using the term meh. And what does it mean? So, of course, as you can see, meh is the cubit. In English, it's defined as cubit. That's how they translate it. In our ancestral language, meh is the central unit of measurement throughout ancient Kemet. Just like in English, you can have an inch, a foot, a yard. These are central units of measurement. If you're going to build a road, build, skyscrapers, everything you build is based on the central unit of measurement. In ancient Kemet, the central unit of measurement is called meh. Meh became med in European languages, but meh is the root of med. Meh is the root of measure and so forth. So even their term, quote unquote, their term meditate from the root med, meaning to measure, is stolen from our language. Meh, meaning to measure, the central unit of measurement. SUSUW means to measure, as we showed in the Akan language as well as the language of ancient Kemet. And so we, then we go into some more detail and we start talking about, the origins of these various practices and how we've engaged in these practices for thousands of years all over the continent of Afuraitkaitnut, Africa, in various groups, ethnic groups, clans, and so forth. We brought these practices into North America and so forth. But there are different ways to engage in certain ritual practices. You can sing on a secular level that has nothing to do with ritual, but you can also use ritual song in a ritual capacity. You can speak in a secular way, but you can also speak in a ritual way, and that's considered apai, which is the term for prayer. You can dance just in a general secular way, or you can utilize ritual dance in a ritual capacity. If you say you're going to get some food from a specific restaurant that children like, they'll start singing about, we're about to get this food from this restaurant, or they'll start dancing around. If you won, $1,000 in a contest or something, and you start dancing around or singing about, winning the money, that's singing or dancing in a secular capacity. But there's also such thing as ritual dance and ritual song and ritual prayer and so forth. We meditate on a regular basis, as we said. If you're watching television, you're contemplating something, you're focused on something, you're blocking everything else out, that's a form of meditation. If you're reading a book, you're listening to a podcast, you're just walking and focused on something and listening to music and blocking everything else out, you're in a form of contemplation, you're meditating. If you fall asleep, you're meditating. You can meditate in a secular context, like in those contexts, but you can also meditate in a ritual context. With regard to ancestral religion, that's dealing with communication with the ancestresses and ancestors and the divinities and so forth. But you can also do that in a secular context, which we do every single day. No different than exercise. So if somebody said they're going to come to a school or go to a business and teach people Pilates or teach people certain kinds of core exercises to build up their core, build up their, abdomen and lower back and so forth, certain movements, and it benefits and they can see the scientific benefits, they do the same thing. This is how they treat meditation. They have people come in. It's a form of exercise in this context that helps people enhance outcomes, expand their awareness, sharpen their focus, enhance their productivity at work, assist people with reducing stress, anxiety, depression, weight loss, all these different things, maintaining focus. So they see it more so as a form of exercise, and that's how we introduce SUSUW, something that can benefit you immediately and tangibly. Now, if somebody wanted to go back and say, hey, I want to learn more about ancestral culture and religion and ritual practice, they can do that outside of the, sessions that you conduct. But when you go into a school or, place of employment, these different things, you introduce it in the form of an introductory practice, which is similar to a form of exercise. So that's what we're doing. And that way it's universally acceptable to wherever our people are, in places of employment, human services agencies, wherever we are at. So hold on one second. So let me know if there are any questions in the chat room. Any questions about anything that we've touched on? Okay. And when you look on the page, you'll see we did, over the past 2.5 weeks, we've done a number of different lives here on YouTube where we delved into a number of different expressions of the culture and talking about different, applications of SUSUW meditation and some more linguistic information, cosmology, various things. And so you can check those out as well. But we have about 10 more spaces, but we have a number of spaces left open for the new session that begins July 1st. So you can register for that. But importantly, based on, for this particular this podcast episode or live episode, we want to let people know we are giving this offer. For those of you who are subscribers or followed our work and so forth, like we said, and this is the offer. Of course, as is true with all of our publications and the things that we teach, this offer, as well as the course, the instructor course, and of course the offer as well, is offered to or is open to our people only, open to Black people only. We only teach Black people in our community, men and women. We only have instructors from within our community, the Afurakanu, Afuraitkaitnut, or African community, Black community. And this referral fee offer, of course, is only open to, our community. So when you're sharing this information, it's only for Black people to be trained, to be certified, and go out into the community and teach. So we don't invite other groups into our sessions to teach. So, and also the referral fee itself, we're doing this to impact economically in a positive way our community. So we wouldn't have Europeans jumping on this live and, sharing this information with all their friends and trying to get referral fees from us and us teaching their people. We don't do all of that. This is for Afuraitkaitnut people, African Black people only. The session itself, the certification course itself, as well as this referral fee option. Okay, so that's what I had for tonight. That's what I wanted to share with you all. We only have, Monday is the next, the beginning of the course. So we have a few days left for people to register. Okay, any questions about the referral fee option or the course itself? Hold on a second. Okay, we also, of course, you can, if you have any questions, you can reach out to us on our email address on the website, as well as on, social media. Of course, if you have questions about the referral fee option, or if you have questions about the course itself, we do record all of the sessions. So it's a 4-week course and so forth, but if you miss a session, we always record the session and share it with a password and so forth, link and password to all the participants. So you can always, you have unlimited access to each one of the recordings, so you can, review them and take notes and so forth. Okay, so that's all I wanted to share. I just want to do a quick live to update people about that. We did send this email out via Constant Contact, but I know some people who are like on Facebook or maybe one of our other sites may have not seen the Constant Contact email about that, and I didn't want to wait until like the weekend before you came across the information. You may need more time to reach out to people who are, you may know who are interested, who want to become entrepreneurs or at least do something entrepreneurial in addition to their regular 9 to 5. And some people are able to take this kind of information, take this kind of certification, and they turn it into a full-time job. They turn it into full-time employment. If you get a few schools, like after-school programs, whether it's an independent charter school or a conventional school, or a few community service organizations, or places of employment, or cultural organizations, or places who are asking for this, community centers on weekends and so forth, sometimes with elders, sometimes with youth, or creating a program where you introduce that to an after-school program or a community center, like, hey, we're going to do meditation for a half an hour with youth to help them with their, knowledge retention so they can do better in school and so forth. Whatever it is, if you have one at one center on Mondays, another at a school on Tuesdays, another center on Wednesdays, and so forth, some people will put together, 1 day a week. On one session per day, 5 days a week, 5 different centers. And then, they're working 5 days a week. They're working about an hour plus per week. They may get $100 or $200 per session. They make $1,000 a week, and they're able to, do this full time just by utilizing this certification. And that's what we want to promote. We want to promote entrepreneurship in a positive capacity, serving our community, but also engaging in independence, economic independence at the same time. Okay, so again, Yedase, we thank everybody for joining in with us. And Yebisha Bio, we will meet again. Heads up.